Second?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're now moving forward. Okay, so we've got a bunch of stuff to catch up on. One of the big things is we've got a few applicants for CPC funds, and they've got pre-applications out. And at the last CPC meeting, some of those pre-applications are kind of contingent upon us writing a letter of support, in short. And I was hoping that some of those folks would be here to talk about them. And I'll give them a little bit of time if anybody does show up, but in the meantime, I can give a little bit of review.
Sure.
And I have a couple things
Yeah, and,
to vote on.
yeah, right,
Okay.
other stuff too. Yeah, I kind of have you just kind of penciled in. We have a lot of stuff, so.
Yeah.
Well, maybe first we should look at the meeting minutes. Anybody have any issues with the September minutes? Okay,
Motion
good.
to approve.
Second?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, minutes approved in September. There is
Should we
no,
do a roll call?
We-
Just so, on the record, just
You
so.
don't need to if
That's unanimous.
Oh.
I'll just say unanimous and
Right.
we've got everybody who's here, so.
we're just
I'm not talking
missing,
about the vote, I'm just talking about who's present.
Oh,
That will
okay.
get recorded minutes.
Yeah.
Should be there.
Okay.
Tim will get up that.
we're just missing Dave.
Yeah,
we're only
missing one.
Great.
Which is good. So, all right, so anyway, Vintage Days Reflection. I was there a little bit. Margot really could speak to it. Margot and Dave definitely did a great job from what I saw.
Yeah.
So you want to reflect?
Yeah, well, it was great to get to know Dave better.
Yeah, right? Great guy.
And we did give out, I don't know, one or two, or we sold one or two the monographs, thank you. And the Historical Society was there, so I got to chat with the curator there, whose name I'm forgetting. Anyway,
Meg Baker. probably.
Meg,
Yeah.
right, yeah, and she was great. So I think it was okay, but there wasn't a lot of visitation. And
Yeah.
I think it needs a little more. I
Well,
mean, apparently the trolley was a big,
the
big hit.
trolley was a big hit. The only problem with the trolley is they didn't make the scheduling clear about how long people would be at a stop. So we would actually have people show up and say, I don't know how long I have to be
Oh.
here before the next trolley. So they would just kind of walk around for 5 minutes, get back on the trolley, because they didn't know if it would be back in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour.
Uh-huh.
So-
That feedback needs to go.
That was
Yeah.
the one kind of feedback that we saw at our end down at
But it brought
the mill.
a lot of new people. that
Oh
you've
yeah,
never seen.
oh very good, extremely good. We were very happy with the number of visitors and the people were very interested. We had a blacksmithing demo and people like that going on. So from our perspective, it worked. You know, it was a great success for us.
I think as a first attempt, and it was
yeah.
good, and we just need to build on it, and
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, like you did a demonstration.
I did a demonstration, yep. And, I mean, and the scouts were there and I talked to them a bunch and they took the trolley tour as well. You know, and I think like I got a little feedback from them saying, you know, like it was good, but it was a little bit like kind of like rushed and you know, and I think in my mind I was like, oh, you know, like in the old days, the trolley ride would go around and they'd stop in front of the house and then talk about the house.
Sure.
That's a different type of a thing that was happening.
This was pure transportation.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so. And
Uh-huh.
if you or if there was a person who said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be the conductor of the trolley, and
Yeah.
we're going to do an actual tour thing,
That would have added a lot.
that would have added.
Those were
Definitely.
always,
Yeah, yeah.
when we did those were always
Sure.
really popular.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
really
Mhm.
enjoyed them.
And that was one of the things that I was kind of hoping to pull together.
Yeah.
I knew that it was ambitious to try to get all these things to happen. I think as a whole, and I was there every day for the event a
Yeah.
little bit. A lot of people came out. It coincided with the farmers market, which was nice.
Right.
There was, there was food and there was music and stuff. So I think, the mayor seems like she's committed to, it being a perennial event.
That was the day that she avoided.
Well, I don't know, I can't speak to that, but I did not see her myself. But yeah, I mean, I think Greenfield should have something like that, and I think that now with 360 days of notification in advance, maybe we could try to get a couple of them.
You know what's interesting is the very next weekend, I attended Turner's Falls, a pumpkin fest.
Yeah.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
And talk about amazing.
I
yeah.
was also at that. Yeah.
Ah.
That was, and I said, Greenfield should be thinking about doing something like this.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
maybe
the last
But
one
that
for
was the
the,
last one.
That was the last one.
But
But
Because
then
it
they,
takes
and
too
they
much
said it was,
work.
there was
Well,
too many volunteers.
Mike Nelson, who runs it, is the president of the
Not
fairgrounds.
as many
and
volunteers.
He's
and then
his,
the people. Yeah.
he's stretched very, yeah, because
Right.
Mike Nelson was running that.
Imagine how many people it takes to run that thing.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous event. It was a great event.
Huh.
And he did allude, because I was at that and I heard him speak, that Pumpkin Fest will be back, but it
Yeah.
will be in Greenfield.
Oh,
Well, he basically said that he was hoping to replicate what they had up at the fairgrounds.
Oh,
Oh.
fairgrounds, see that, yeah, okay.
Well, yeah,
Oh.
but like,
Yeah.
say for example, that
Yeah.
the Greenfield History Day, Classic Day thing coincides with that.
Yeah.
As a weekend event,
oh,
because I think that Rachel from the GBC, was hoping to try to make it into, like, you got a car show, you got this, you got that. I mean, I went to the fireman's cookout
Also-
thing.
Yeah.
They had at the end.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of events, and I think if it was concurrent with another event,
Yeah.
because there was a tractor parade, there was a little bit of involvement
Oh, yeah.
from the fairgrounds.
Hmm.
Anyway, so it was a good event. I think mostly it was just, I appreciate Margot and Dave being there and
Yeah.
kind of representing for us.
Right.
Um,
It's interesting now, we're through the Second Congo Church, we started this thing, we're baking honey cookies, and the Langstroth Baking Society, and it's a fundraiser for the church, and we sold cookies at the last two farmers markets. And what's interesting to me was that when people would come up and they were trying these cookies, and they were saying, well, what are you doing? And we said, well, Lorenzo Langstroth was our minister here, and he's the guy that invented the modern beehive. And they're like, oh, really? I didn't know that.
Mhm.
And so they got really interested in that aspect of it.
Yeah.
To the point where we were thinking, we really ought to have some little dog and pony show running on while we're doing the cookies, because
Totally.
and the farmers market is moving indoors.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in our church. It's going to be in Second Congo
really?
instead of being at Four Corners.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So
Oh,
we'll
wow.
have a
That's
table there with cookies selling once a month
Nice.
at the farmers market,
Great.
and they're really good cookies.
Okay,
Anyway,
anyway.
I had a hand in baking them myself. I can tell you they're worth.
Well, your hand was in there?
Didn't bring any.
Somebody
Well,
beat
you could bring
us.
us some samples next time. Really good.
Okay, so that's Vintage Days, did that. CBC review, I can go through my notes from that. That was October 13th. And so basically we reviewed the pre-applications that were in time for that meeting. And there was a number of them, and I think they were all passed unanimously, or almost unanimously, but they all passed, which means that we said, they look good so far, take them to the next level. I mean, that's basically what it's a pre-application, and we're saying, this could work. It's not a lock, but it's something that probably, with the right, preparation and legwork could be acceptable. So there was a bunch. I mean, let's see, pickleball, there was one about that. I'm just gonna go over them quick. Highland Pond restoration, there was one about that. Bocce courts, Shattuck.
Where were they going to put pickleball?
They were gonna put. I think they wanted to add the pickleball to what is that? Green River Park.
Oh,
Yeah.
is there some there already?
I think there's one there. They
Yeah.
wanted
Oh, they
to
wanted to
add
add
another one.
Oh, yeah.
Highland Pond to restore that open space. You know, again, a lot of these ones, it's like, yeah, the ideas are cool, but going from that to that is it's a big deal. And also, most of these projects are on town land, which means that the town has to be a signer
Right.
of the application.
Right.
You know, so you can't just say, oh, we're gonna build pickleball, like, you know, you need to like work through DPW, like, everything needs to be up to code, everything has to be done through them as a conduit, obviously.
And they gotta take bids.
And that's something that you need to think about, right, so you know, you can't just like, I'm just gonna do it, like, you're not gonna go dredge Highwood Pond without working through the DPW. I mean, that's
Or
not,
the Conservation Commission.
right, or whoever it is,
And you say re-dredge.
Right, well,
Re-dredge, because they dredged it, then they undredged it, then they dredged it, undredged it, so, you know.
so you can just imagine, like, that one in particular, like, everybody loves the idea.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds picturesque, it sounds great, but like, between here and there, the weeds are thick, no pun intended, but there's a lot.
You can't cut those weeds.
You can't cut, right, well, there you go.
Birds live in those weeds, you know.
So the onus is on the people to make that happen.
Yeah.
And some of those projects would be funded over a period of years. Anyway, so Highland Pond,
You wanna make it into an ice park again.
yeah, I mean, it's an awesome idea, you know, but, you know, we're not really there to, you know, arbitrate that. Bocce courts, that would be a Beacon. Shattuck Fitness Cluster, downtown chess, like tables and boards. Poet Seat, to clean
Yeah.
graffiti trail
Clean it
markers, things like that. You know, some of those are like kind of broad, like, you know, like,
Those
You know-
trails are marked.
okay, well, right. I'm just saying, you know, exactly, like, the person came up and they wanted to,
Some little hands.
you know, they wanted to do like graffiti. Like,
Yeah.
remove graffiti, you know, like everybody
Sure.
probably in town would agree that, yes, there should be graffiti on the side of the monument.
Right.
But isn't that town maintenance?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So it becomes one of those things that maybe it doesn't quite fit into the CPC funding,
Right.
you know, category. And that's where the work lies. It's not
Well,
about what we think is
It
cool.
sort of does. And to my understanding, other towns have used it in the sense like downtown, they've gotten extra sweeping or extra maintenance on the downtown streets because you know the store owners didn't. You know, there's always that
You know,
issue.
they would
the
have
store
to.
owners don't want to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
I
they
mean,
use
as
the CPC
Margot
money
found
to
out,
hire. I think
CPC
Northampton
money-
did that, and they
Yeah.
hire a firm who comes through and does, you know, to supplement what the town is not doing.
It's possible that it could fly.
So it can happen, but I would agree that that one in particular is a little
If you'd rather it be for capital projects that
right.
stick
Something
around,
new.
like a pickleball court.
Yes.
Yeah,
Something
like
new.
you know, like it was graffiti, but it was also trail markers and signage, and you know, like it was just a bunch of things.
Oh yeah, it
And
needs-
like maybe they're all good, but like, are you just? And whereas that all of that would have to go right through DPW,
right.
You know, and the rec commission.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
like I said, those trails are already existing. There's already a whole system for that.
Sure.
There was another one, BMX park. They want to restore the one up by Murphy Field. You know that one?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Abercrombie Field bathrooms. And that's another one. So Abercrombie Field, there are bathrooms there if you didn't know, and they're in rough shape. The ceilings are collapsed. Anybody would be like, heck yeah. I mean, like you could see daylight from the bathroom. Oh, not good. But is that maintenance, or is that are we restoring it, or are we repairing it?
Mhm.
It becomes a little bit sticky. And who gets to use them? It's not a public bathroom. I can't go there now and use them. You can only use them when there's like a ball game on.
Hmm.
So if I go to see a game, you know, because they're basically used by a particular segment of like Babe Ruth League or something to that effect. So when they're using it, they want the bathrooms, which is nice, but they're not public bathrooms.
Right. Yeah.
So then, and we'll see as I go through
So
the
who
list.
maintains that field, those fields?
That's a good question.
I think it's probably a bunch of parents that support the,
Well, that's where the process of the CPC is to
They have
rank,
an
rank these projects
Yeah.
and to give higher weight to the ones that have higher public
right.
impact.
Right,
And that's,
Right, and that's
right.
the
So bigger,
that's how it
so the
works.
bigger benefit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it works.
And that's
So-
kind of where
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
ultimately I think.
Yeah.
Anyway, so track, the new Greenfield, new track at the high school. There's there's a section, there's a parking lot, and then there's a section of grass, and then there's the track.
Right.
So there's a small section that's probably, I don't know, 30 feet long.
Yeah.
Where it's not ADA accessible, or it's, you know what I mean, like there's paved, and then there's grass, and then there's the track. And so there's an idea that it should be paved all the way across, or it's not fully accessible.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, and again, that's one of those things that it's like, well, that's the school. Does the school do that?
Well, they built that track.
The DPW do
They had
that?
to make it meet the
CDC
ADA when they built
They were
it.
supposed to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Dude. So right. So it's like every one of these is a little. We could do this with all of them,
That's right.
and the goal is not necessarily for us to just to tease it out.
No,
exactly,
it's
but-
just, it's
But
just
so which
pass
way
them
does
along
this
to the next
work?
step of the
So then I'm getting there. I'm getting there. There was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot, and
Yeah.
Museum of Industrial Heritage.
Uh-huh.
They have a proposal to, and Scott could talk about it. A proposal to build
We're
part of a
restoring,
display, restore part of a display. All right, and so that one got approved. We'll talk about it. I'll get through this list, and then we can. Scott can talk about it. There was one bike safe link. So this is again super broad. Like, who doesn't want a bike? Who doesn't want a bike path, a trail? That sounds awesome. But this is about creating a link between Greenfield and Deerfield. And as you know, if you bike at all, you go down Deerfield Street, it's scary. It's wicked scary to be on the
I
bike.
used to work at Prevent, and I used to
It's
ride my
right
bike
down by the block where the Meadows of the golf course is. It's like the worst place.
Oh, yeah.
And if you like, you're scared.
Oh, yeah.
It's not a good place for
No
people to bike.
lights.
No.
No lights.
Right. So again, the premise is awesome. But exactly, what are you looking for money to do?
What's a state highway?
I mean,
So the
what
state's
would the money
state's
fund us?
gotta do
It would fund a study.
You
or
can't,
something. I'm
but the
not
state's
sure.
got to do it.
Right.
It just once you go over the
Yeah, I
bridge, it's
mean,
Route 5.
The ideas are
Yeah, right.
good, but the question is, what exactly would you do with the money? You're not going to build a bike path,
No.
right? You would basically it would fund a study. So some of these people we said you need to kind of hone it in a little bit. You need
Yeah.
to say what you're,
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next one, Temple Woods Trail, the rehab. Again, this is rec department, DPW stuff, and there's already trails there and whatever. Historic Society, Peter Miller's stuff, essentially. So the
What, do they want
collection.
help cataloging it or something?
Yeah, right. They want to pay for somebody to help catalog it and to go through it and all that.
It's a lifetime job.
That's a lifetime job.
But that would be really good. Just,
Yes.
wow.
Well, and then so again, but everything there's a wrinkle with everything. So who gets to see it? How often is it accessible? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, they're not here to.
No, it goes into the research library, but
Right.
Yeah. But the whole sound good.
Right? Can it be digitized? Can there be a
Yeah,
way to try to?
Yeah.
That's always my thing. It's like it's the broad appeal. More people can access it.
Right.
Wisely. All right. Then the next one. So we've got the museum, we've got the Historic Society, and the third one for us is the Methodist Church. The First United Methodist Church, which is right up here by St. James, right? And they have a bathroom that they want to update. So it's they have a bathroom in the basement.
the church wants to update its bathroom?
And
Yeah.
wants CPC funds to do it? What?
I'm
And
not-
you told them it's okay?
No, I did not. I basically, so what it is so when people come across with their pre-application,
Mhm.
they have to put it in like a pigeonhole or a box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it open space? No. Is it, housing?
Certification? No.
No. So the only way for this project to get funded would be is if we wrote a letter in support of it as a historic thing, and it's basically substantiated that as a project.
Yeah.
When I suggested, I said you might want to reach out to the tech school because they might rebuild. I mean, you have a bathroom that's built in whatever 1880,
Mhm.
or whatever it is. So there's no venting, there's none of that stuff. And to bring that up to code,
It's a wooden seat or.
it's a wooden seat, right?
Oh,
It's
wow.
moss.
Wow.
So
They
it's
ought to try to get a grant to repaint that rusted roof of theirs.
well now that might be more. If they were here, I was
Because
hoping she was
that's
going to
that's like a cast iron roof or something. It's like an iron roof on that church. It's rusted.
Yeah,
Oh.
Been rusting for 30 years.
it was like a sheet metal roof.
It's
It must be like sheet that
I don't
usually
know
that's been painted like a galvanized.
Well, it's gothic. You know, take a look at it. Go down. It's on Church
Huh.
Street, so it's easy to find.
Yeah.
But yeah. But anyway, it's all rusty up there. I don't know what that's all about. But
Yeah. So anyway, and we could talk about these in a little bit more detail, but well, we have to, but eventually, yeah, we will. So I mean, they kind of looked at me, and Travis, who's the head of the CPC, was like, well, the only way that this could even move forward would be if the historic commission would be just supported it as like a historic site. If you have a building, the building is old, but in terms of a bathroom, it's not that accessible to the general public. How many people get to use
it
it?
isn't at all.
And the fact that it's a church makes it difficult. Matter of fact, Travis actually looked up a case where and I forget where the heck it was. It was somewhere kind of local where a church got CPC money to restore like the stained glass windows
Mhm.
with it, right? Which seems great. Like we would, and then people complain because it's not accessible to everybody.
Yeah, right.
And I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there as a hypothetical issue.
Sure.
And the town that gave them the money actually got into some hot water as a result of that. So there is some precedence for supporting things that have limited accessibility, like churches or semi-private baseball fields kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also like, well, I don't know, it's a little bit of a bugaboo
Yeah, right.
because it ain't like,
Was that an old church?
yeah, it's an older church. Yeah, it's the one that's where St. James is right here.
Yeah.
Across from by the Elks.
Yeah.
One block up.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Gothic church there. It's definitely a historic church. It's cool, but
Yeah.
really the purview of the historic commission is not to
Yeah.
is not to give people money so that they can or help them get money so they can restore the inside.
Right.
They're not going to restore it to
Right.
1880s
Right.
bathroom.
Yeah.
It's going to be have to be completely 2022 fully
Yeah.
compliant, right? I mean, it's not like
As
Yeah. as soon as you touch it.
You're right.
It's one thing if you run it as, again, I'm not like the guy, but
Yeah.
if it's an old existing bathroom and it's in continuous
it has to
operation,
be ADA.
So it won't
which
be
is
big
big
enough.
bucks.
It'll
Yeah.
be-
It won't be big enough.
Right.
Doors won't
It's
be
down.
big
It's
enough.
downstairs. Like they're like it's.
Everything's wrong, yeah.
Well, I'd like to cut to the chase if I may, because I have to leave at 6. I think your proposal and the Historic Society is worth our support.
Okay.
I mean, we'd love to hear more details, but
You know what we ought to push for the Peter Miller stuff is to catalog it, but put it up on the internet.
yeah,
Put it up when you catalog it, that makes it accessible to everybody. And
The-
he's got all of that.
So
ephemera.
there's kind of a whole side piece to that where there are several organizations, I think maybe Boston Public Library and somebody else who will actually come in and digitize collections for free.
Yeah.
So you don't really have to ask for money to get that done. You would only need to ask for money if you were going to do it yourself.
But it's got to be
But
organized enough to
it's
do
the
that. Right?
organizing
Yeah.
part,
Yeah.
it's the organizing part that
Yeah.
they're gonna need
Yeah.
to help with. I
That's
right.
agree with that, 'cause
That's right.
we've
and,
hired people to do that in our collection
Yeah.
several times.
Right.
and we're gonna need it for the historic survey.
Yeah.
update.
Absolutely. Right.
So having them done in
Yeah.
parallel.
But all of that ephemera is only of any use
Yeah.
if people can look it up easily online or
Yeah.
and consult with it. So
Yeah.
you've got, programs from the 1953 celebration of the town's 200th or whatever it was. That's of interest, but not if it's in
Right.
the library. I mean,
Yeah.
He's got
Well, if they could
12
hire
copies of that program.
a professional.
We
to
were always,
go through
we've been able to get interns in, and we pay them,
it.
but we've been able to get interns, sometimes from the university,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
several times.
Scott, do you wanna talk about the museum?
Yeah, actually, I'll send, I got a couple of these.
'Cause I'm just gonna pull up the
This-
pre-application
Yeah,
stuff.
these are, this is exactly what I turned in to the CPC, so it's not, it's just, John's already seen it.
Yeah.
But the back is, it's 2 page, on the back is what we're restoring, so it's a Goodell Pratt, one of the old Goodell Pratt, home workshop systems. And,
Oh, cool.
we actually have all the pieces, and one of those pieces, the little milling machine, we've never seen another one. So we may have, we're not even sure this product all the pieces came to market.
So what all did this do? This had a
It had a mill and a lathe and a drill press
Yeah.
and a little buffer grinder, and we have some good static displays, but it's when things move,
Sure.
people really
It's
like
always
to,
been kind
they
of
like
a
to see
jewel.
moving stuff.
Absolutely. Who
Um,
doesn't?
I know if you go to the American Precision Museum in Windsor, they do that really well.
Yeah,
They've got a lot of these very active displays. So
Right.
we have had this in sort of functioning, but we're actually going to have the blacksmith in the building help us recreate some of the
So you need
fancier
some parts
pieces.
machine for this, right?
Yeah, we're going to have
So
to
Moody
buy the
machine.
parts and to
I go
have the
I go
blacksmith.
to Moody Machine to see,
I have a machine shop. I do it for free.
you do it for yourself?
Yeah.
So this isn't a huge dollar.
No, it's
figure.
going to be probably $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow.
Excellent. What a gorgeous looking thing.
They're very pretty pieces.
Reminds me of the shopsmith,
Well-
the carpenter version.
Yeah,
The
right.
thing was, is this,
Well, right, and when they came out with these back in the day, it was like, in that generation,
people bought these.
Oh, yeah.
this was like,
Oh,
yeah, and to be able to have a compact machine, sure. This is like,
Yeah.
as you know,
Like the shopsmith.
3x5 table.
Correct.
you know, it really speaks to that whole generation of inventors and innovators.
Yeah.
Before, World War One, at that time,
Set it up in the
where people
garage.
were really making stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And to have something that's made in
Come out with
Greenfield is
your
super
version
cool.
of an apple peeler core.
And
this
and,
is-
and it would be
my
good for
father-in-law did
physics
that.
and
Yeah.
It's a very nice,
industrial.
but we have the pieces. What we're missing is the bracketing and the, kind of the shafting part.
Right.
But we have we do have all the machines.
So you have to have some casting stuff.
So, well, yeah, we're gonna have the blacksmith help us with that part of it.
All right,
It's just,
great,
it's
great
just an
Can
exciting
we vote
project.
to support this?
You can make a motion.
I move we support the Museum of Industrial Heritage,
Second.
support to CPC.
Second.
Second by Doug, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
Just-
should.
All right, good.
A little bit of conflict.
I'm gonna abstain. I don't, not that I get paid by anybody.
Really? All right. Yeah, so, basically, that we'll write a letter in support of it and,
Yeah.
okay, so.
And then the Historic Society, do you have the
I do, I have
application
I do for the Historic Society, project description. In 2022, the Historic Society of Greenfield received a great number of documents and artifacts from the founding of the town through 2020. A donation from the estate of Peter Miller, past local historian of the town, Historical Society president, and head of the Historic Commission. The historic resource is currently at risk due to the need to get precious documents into archival housing, clean and rehabilitate artifacts, and make careful restorations if needed. Funds granted would pay for staff hours dedicated to preserving this resource and archival supplies necessary for this work. So,
So that does not mention scanning them.
No.
It only talks about,
dedicated to preserving this resource
the-
and supplies.
yeah, but it sounds like they're only talking about paper.
Well, this is a pre-application.
Right.
You're right.
I mean, I would support it if it included scanning.
Oh, we could put that in our motion.
I think so, because give them that feedback, because if it goes into archival stuff and goes into a file cabinet, it's of no use to anybody. you have to go digging for it and find it, and how are you gonna catalog that? Because it's every kind of piece of paper that the town ever printed. So,
Take care of
Gen-
it, take care of it in a motion.
So,
Well, I
so,
just wanna say that I mean, the scanning part could be done, as Scott said, by,
I just don't,
For free.
I think the scanning part is not necessarily something you wanna do in-house. I guess that's my point.
No, I agree.
And,
No, I agree.
and,
it's
You know,
the,
there are-
it's the professional, going through organizing.
The
and
organizing
deciding what's more
and the
important and what should be
cataloging.
kept. That's the part
And-
that's
and
worth
that,
the
have-
money.
that's.
But this doesn't even talk about catalogs.
true.
Well, it is a little vague. I mean, it says,
Talks about preserving and
um,
archiving.
Well,
um,
archiving means,
to get precious documents into archival housing,
Yeah.
clean and rehabilitate artifacts, and to make careful restorations as needed. Funds granted would pay for staff hours dedicated to preserving this resource and archival supplies necessary for this work.
Doesn't talk about cataloging.
well,
No.
it actually doesn't talk about curation.
So I would say that if they, I would absolutely support it if they added those other two parts to it.
Yeah,
But this
so
alone,
this is like Meg.
I think
for
this,
Meg.
they're talking about
Yeah.
putting,
Yeah,
putting
this is
stuff
from,
into,
this is from.
into folders that are
Is it
acid-free
who's
folders.
the application?
Okay.
But she's the only staff, right?
But I think
Yeah,
a call to
she's
Meg
very
Baker or somebody
qualified.
and say,
Oh, yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
need to amend that, and then we'll back it, you know? 'Cause
Okay,
I'm not willing to back this if it's just putting it into acid-free folders. I just don't, that's not good
All right,
Right.
so,
That wouldn't be good enough.
Yeah.
so what's your,
I
Make a
think-
motion.
do you wanna make, do you wanna make a motion, or do you wanna clarify what your stipulations are? Or your recommendation,
Yeah,
not to put it on you, but.
well, no, that's fine,
You're the
but,
dude.
but now I'm back into the process, because this is their pre-application that they wrote. And so
It's
what
like,
we're
yeah,
saying is
yeah.
if you rewrote it, then we would back it. Does that make sense? Can they rewrite it? at
Well,
this
this has
When-
already been approved
Yeah,
point? Okay,
and when
as
is
a
it due?
pre-application.
When's the final?
But I will say, I forget,
I'm not sure about the
End of
process.
November?
yeah, end of the month.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think.
But see, we're not approving the project, we're just
No.
No, so
approving it
that
to move
as it
forward.
stands.
And I think,
Okay.
could we approve it with the recommendation that,
Yes, that's
that,
Yeah.
because they have
Yeah.
to fully flesh this out, I believe, by November 30th and put a complete application.
Okay,
And so I think you could say,
Okay.
our notes say we wanna see more specificity on
Yeah.
the cataloging.
Yeah.
And possibly
Possible
scanning or on, you know.
yeah.
To ensure public access.
Yeah.
Right, all right, so I move that we write them a letter saying that we approve this, we're backing this pre-application, but we recommend that that their application be expanded to include cataloging and some provision for putting as much material online as possible.
Is the application, is Meg the person?
Meg Baker, yeah.
You know, I know Meg now.
Yeah, why don't you call her up?
That's all it
I
is.
second that.
Me too.
Somebody's paying attention. I don't know why the mayor doesn't like you, you're so good.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that just, yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as the ducks are in a row. I think that the thing to do is be to communicate with Meg and get some clarity on that. I mean, I guess I would assume, I don't think it's a stretch to assume that cataloging is exactly what they're, is that's the
I would
freaking point.
That's right.
I mean, I don't think that's a
Maybe
stretch
just
at all.
didn't write it that way, but.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be
Yeah.
impossible to go through it without, that's what that process is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. To me, cataloging in these days means database, and that's,
So,
Yeah.
to, before we like kind of vote, but it would be like, so maybe they need to specify what kind of cataloging they're talking about.
Okay.
You know, maybe that's more what we
And
want
So
to do.
organize
We can
and
see the
catalog.
Catalog, yeah.
Organize and catalog. But, I mean, to me, that means database these days, but who knows?
I don't know.
Cataloging. Yeah, I'm sure they will. I'm sure they're totally, they got it.
Yeah.
So, to recommend, approving, but to include cataloging and specifying what kind of cataloging, right? And accessibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some provision for online
Online
access.
accessibility.
Yeah, online access, yeah, just-
Online access.
Yeah.
That's a big project.
Okay, so we've got a motion
Yeah.
seconded by Margot.
No, it was seconded by this man over there.
Okay, by Doug. Seconded by Doug. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Alright. Alright, good. So that's cool.
Great.
And so the third one, and let me go back and I'll pull up that from the church.
I specifically was moving that we support the first two.
Yeah.
Meaning non-support this one.
Oh, I get you.
Do we need to discuss it any further?
You guys have any thoughts about the bathroom project at the Methodist Church?
I see no reason for us to back out.
I don't see the historical access of.
Unless
I
they
don't see
can
the
present us with
historical
some sort of
aspect.
an argument
Yeah.
that's one that is not obvious.
Right.
I'd say no. I mean, if it was a purely Victorian bathroom that they want to preserve in its full glory, you know, with the products of Mr. Crapper,
Well, there is a plumbing museum in Massachusetts.
yeah. Yeah, Mr. Crapper stuff, we've seen it in modern museums, but,
Yeah.
Chandeliers.
you know, it's an elaborate porcelain thing. There's a shower room in Toronto that's unbelievable. This shower that's got like nozzles coming from all directions and
Yeah.
stuff. It's
Oh,
all
yeah, yeah.
powered
They
by,
didn't ask
by steam. It's
Pretty cool.
amazing.
No, they didn't come, and I, you know, I mean, you know, kind of to be, you know, I was trying to, you know, I think facilitate for her the process and kind of help them work it out,
Yeah.
because I think that, yes, I'd love to see them do it, you know, of course they should have a good bathroom, whatever. The CPC may not be the right venue, and the Historic Commission probably not gonna support it, and I basically made that clear at the meeting.
Mhm.
I said, but if you come to the meeting and you know, I wanna give you that opportunity to do
If they
that.
went someplace else, some other arm of the city, and went to try to get them, that would be more appropriate than us.
Access for.
There's no historical.
I'll just read the description, so, just for clarity. Update downstairs bathrooms, 2 bathrooms to bring up to code and to be more accessible for the support groups that meet in our fellowship hall. On these evenings, approximately 15 to 50 people attend meetings to help in some form of addiction. These spaces are also considered for use by after-school music programs that currently meets in the temple and may be a convenient location for the town's winter farmer market. B was replace or repair windows in lower level library space to make it more energy efficient. This room also offers a convenient and comfortable meeting space for groups. You know, and again, they have to check a box. They're either open space, historic preservation, community housing, or recreation.
Right.
So we're the closest thing that they could get.
Right.
Um,
I don't think they're gonna hack it, no.
no, Doug?
They gotta know for me.
All right, a motion? You wanna make a motion?
Move we do not back this project.
Second.
Second?
Do we have to make an official motion if we're not approving it, or?
Well, I mean, I think I'd like to,
Yeah.
just so that way I can come back to the CPC and say, okay,
You have to.
we voted on it,
Okay.
we talked
Alright.
about it. Okay, all in favor of
Not supported.
Not
Not
supporting.
supporting it.
Aye.
Okay.
So moved.
Can I
Yeah,
talk about one thing that you mentioned there? That the pickleball thing.
yep,
That has already come through the city council and has been approved.
Oh,
So the
Cool.
mayor brought that forward. And it's basically gonna be built at Beacon Field.
Yeah.
Right next to the tennis courts.
oh,
So this is not the additional one at Green River Park.
I don't believe so.
Okay.
I will pull it up. Oh, yeah, yeah. Anyway, well, irregardless, let us move on. Margot, please take the floor.
oh, thanks. Let me just get out of this. So there's two things. One is that I would like support for requesting from Mass Historical approval of taking off the bookmobile edition on Levitt Hogan House. And if you want, I didn't make a huge bunch of copies, but basically, do you know the part I'm talking about? It's this bit to the east that was built in the 50s, 55, and it was originally a garage carport for the bookmobile. Then they enclosed it, and I forget what they made it first, but then it was the kids' reading room, and it's not consistent with the rest of the building.
Mhm.
It is an eyesore when you're looking out to the west out of the new library. So Ellen Boyer approached me and said, "Can we just take that off?" And I said, "Well, I'd be happy to ask them." There's a historic preservation restriction on the building, so we have to get Mass Historic approval
Sure.
for anything.
Sure.
But I've sort of worded it, the mayor's requested approval from them, and I am requesting your approval to be able to say, yes, officially.
And so, and this is to facilitate the building of handicap accessible ramp.
Well, that's sort of a
It is-
separate question,
Okay.
and
So I thought that's how we got,
it will help. It'll give some space where
is
you
that,
might
is that,
be
would,
able
it
to
would
put
be
it.
on that side maybe?
It's a good
It's
size.
it's a maybe,
Sure.
okay.
Because the other thing that's there has to be a study done of the library for town use as offices or meeting rooms or whatever.
Right, so
Reuse.
right, so to back up a little bit, so
Yeah.
the soon-to-be former library, the Leavitt Holy House, which is gonna remain in town possession and to be used for town whatever stuff, not exactly clear, but probably some kind of offices, right? So the town is gonna is looking to rehab it, let's just say, right? So you guys probably heard about this, and as you remember that last meeting, Athena came and talked about handicap ramps,
Mhm.
and we were kind of like, whoa,
Not in front.
Yeah.
not in
Yeah.
front,
Not in front.
Right.
not in front, and so I think
The
that that's
ramp going back like
their
this.
And
discussion.
that got postponed. It was impossible to meet the grant deadline for that.
Yeah.
And the mayor figured that out and said, no, we'll put that off. So that's not on this burner, but first to make more space, because there will be handicap parking spaces right there for the new building. This will help, but there is a tree in the way, so I don't know. Anyway.
I'm sorry, but you're aware that you cannot cut any trees down in this town.
Yes, I'm on the tree committee too.
I'm sensing
Trees are untouchable.
They're
sarcasm.
not untouchable.
Let's
At
not
any rate,
continue, Margo.
Only
So-
God can make a tree.
would you all agree that the building will be better, more
What-
historically pure if we take that thing off?
Yes.
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 Great. So that's a yes. I don't think we need a letter, we just need a vote. If you approve.
Okay.
So is the motion that the building will be better without the book?
No.
Is that,
No.
or is that the question?
Is to send, well, you have to send a letter to the Mass Historical.
We
Yeah,
support
absolutely.
the request of the mayor to remove the bookmobile edition.
Okay.
So this,
But it has to go to Mass Historical, right?
Yes,
We have to send them a letter.
I can report,
or they, yeah, they're gonna wanna hear communication.
So we
from
just
us.
need to take a vote saying we approve it.
Right.
Okay, so moved.
Second.
can I vote or do I need to do a?
Yeah.
Rescind?
Sure you can.
Yeah, no, you can vote.
You're not making any
It's
money
not
off
your
of it.
project.
No, okay.
Okay, yeah, I support it.
favor?
Aye. All right.
Thank
well,
you.
Yeah, well, keep us, in the loop on that.
All right, can I,
What's the other?
I'll email Paul Holtz, who's the guy and Mass Historically, we've asked the question of, say that the minutes will reflect that the
Yeah.
Historic Commission.
Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
and,
Great.
and, right, and to let us know what communication they want from us, to reach out to us, and
Yeah, if they need any further, yeah. I think just a minute, yeah, but, should we go into the application for the survey and planning?
from Athena?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, please.
Okay, so Athena's gotten $20,000 from the town, from the city,
Right.
out of planning money to match a historic survey and planning grant
Right.
for upgrading the survey and planning. And she's put together a nice letter of intent. This is the same kind of thing as they did for CPC. It's just, we want to update our historic inventory and we intend to do a full application that'll have support from all over the place. But she wanted to be sure that it was okay that the Historic Commission would provide, what did she call it?
I do have an
Kind of oversight or something.
I can pull up her email.
Yeah,
if you
that'd be
want.
great.
Yeah, that would probably be better because
She wasn't feeling well, she couldn't come.
yeah. Here it is. Letter of intent for the survey and planning grant.
It says that the project will be conducted under the guidance of the Greenfield Historical Commission, which under Acts of Mass General Law, Chapter 40, as, that we're enabled as the arm of.
And I didn't quite follow, you said there was 20 grand from the town, where would the rest of the money come from?
It would be a $20,000 match from Mass Historic.
Mass Historic.
And they fund about 15 towns a year to do their historic surveys and planning grants. Most of them have already done it before and it's doing some more.
I can read her email. I'm unfortunately ill and not be able to make the meeting. I'm happy to be available via phone and virtually. I've presented to the grant to the commission previously. The members have the background, meaning us. I'm certainly open to receiving any suggestions regarding the letter of intent and the narrative. I do not need an endorsement or a letter of support at this time. If we are advancing to submitting the full application, I'll definitely return for a more lengthy conversation. Please note, based upon the previous meeting where I presented, I did put in the letter of intent that the Historic Commission would work in conjunction with Eric as a quote local project coordinator. I can remove this if the commission members are opposed. My assumption is that the commission would provide insights into the consultant RFP to conduct the survey and provide additional input to the consultants as work commences, as well as promoting the survey, etc. This would be something to discuss further, and if and when I write the actual SNP grant proposal. Okay.
Now, Margot, this, when the original survey was done, there was some sort of criteria for which buildings were gonna be included, right? And do you remember what that criteria was? Was it a date, or was it generally considered to be historic, or what was the deal?
It was there wasn't a specific criteria, but all nationally registered, anything eligible for the National Register should be put in the inventory so that it could rise to National Register significance, could be designated.
So what was the criteria for the National Register?
Well,
Yeah.
it has to either be architecturally significant or historically significant or both.
Okay,
And-
so what I was gonna suggest is that as we go forward with this updating of survey, is that we take a look at this housing in the town and widen that out. Because there are buildings in the town that are that are architecturally significant, that are not necessarily historically significant.
Right.
Okay, so we've got an Octagon House, for example. We've got, you know, some buildings in town that are examples. I've often said that, you know, if you look at the US Architecture Encyclopedia, that we have an example of almost every kind of building that's in that encyclopedia in Greenfield.
Yeah.
And those buildings need to be included in this new survey, I think, a lot of them. And we need to take another look at that criteria, I think, to update it, because you can't just go back and say it's gotta be an old mansion. You got an old building, you gotta go look and you say, what about the tavern?
Right.
Out
A
there, the
livery stable.
Tavern Farm,
Mhm.
for example, ought to be in that, it's not, because it wasn't downtown.
Right.
Well, no, we had 400 properties and they were
Yeah.
sprinkled all over the
Yeah, but Tavern
town.
Farm.
But I guess
Yeah.
your point is that the criteria for eligibility, let's say, should be updated or revised
Exactly.
to
Yeah,
reflect.
yeah.
I get you.
Well, we're gonna hire a consultant that is skilled in looking
Right,
at
yeah.
all
But I'm
this.
just saying, for our own purposes, I just
Yeah.
wanted to
Right.
broach that idea, because I think there are buildings in town that would not be included under the classic definition of historic buildings,
Right.
but in fact ought to be included, because they're really unusual
Yeah.
and maybe
Mm-hmm.
unique buildings.
Right, and I think that your point, to me, the important part of your point is that Greenfield has lost a lot of important architecture because nobody was looking out for it like that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
if somebody decides to
Since
tear
you better
down.
hurry up, and if you're gonna do my house, you better hurry up, because things are falling off.
Exactly,
Tearing
exactly.
down
But like,
on a
exactly.
6-month basis.
Like somebody could tear down the Octagon House tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, well, it was built in whatever,
Yeah.
1954 or something, so that's not historic, but.
Well,
It
National
has
Register
very well.
designation doesn't protect you from demolition other than our demolition.
No,
related
but you don't even
bylaw.
have anything to stand on. you
No,
know?
right.
I understand that,
Right.
we can't
Yeah.
protect it, but there's still, it's something to keep in mind.
The one thing that Athena says that I kind of disagree in her application is that to potentially work toward Greenfield becoming a certified local government.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah.
We looked into that.
Which-
That was a real problem.
Which means that we have to have a local zoning bylaw, a local district
We
that
didn't even know.
is zoned historic, that will require you to submit if you wanna paint it pink.
There's
or
where
if
the
you
teeth
want-
are.
Yeah,
That's like the eastern towns that have that.
Correct.
yes, the
Correct.
Marblehead.
Those
Or even
Salem,
Northampton,
Salem.
probably, Amherst.
Probably.
Yeah.
I wonder if they do.
I mean,
I
you know,
don't
and this
know.
is one of those things, all the years I've been on here, we've been trying to do.
But
And part of, you know,
But you're gonna run into a brick wall when it's.
we got a lot of rentals,
hit
we
the
got a
brick
lot
wall
of absentee
instantly.
What do you mean,
landlords.
you put me in a historic district, now I can't take the porch off the side of my house?
Right.
People already have that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, it's a whole
Like
other
the
So,
Lions
I
house
think
next to
it's-
my house, you know that?
Yeah.
That
I
one
mean,
there,
she did
that's,
say
That's
potentially
the Grout
work.
Brothers, right? Isn't that 103 Grout Brothers?
well, it's where the Lions are.
Yeah,
The
that big house
Lions
up on the
family.
hill.
Yeah, but he just added a big.
My
wrap around
understanding
the
was
porch
that
there.
was one of the Grout Brothers.
It's
that built
gorgeous,
that.
okay, and it fit, he got historic photos of the house and he tried to make it as much, but it's a new porch, so I mean,
Yeah.
you know, he would, if that was a historic zoning, he may not be able to do that, and that's,
Right.
you know, so.
Yeah. Anyway,
I mean, maybe we allow her to keep it in there.
we don't have to approve I mean, we don't need to approve this,
Yes,
Did
we do.
do we?
She has to send it in. Yeah. Well,
I-
we're not, this is the pre-application.
I mean, I just read her email, and her email says she does not need. I mean, I
She's
read
gonna come back. Yeah, she said
She
she's
said
gonna.
she will
She's gonna come back, yeah.
when she does the full thing.
Right.
She will
Right.
come back, and then we can do with it now. But I think
Okay.
that
But that's not gonna fly today,
No.
right? I mean, that's not gonna fly. Nobody, there's
It,
no
it
way
takes so much energy and
No, it's
would
just
it
not gonna
really
work.
win?
It's just not
I
gonna
don't
do it.
know.
yeah.
it's gonna run right into it, bam.
Alright,
No, I know.
well, we can just
Yeah.
gloss over it.
Anyway,
now.
yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could make a note to. You could reach out to her on that.
Yeah,
Maybe do that since you've been in
Okay.
contact.
well, I've already been.
All right, so and I know we need to go.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on it? I guess not. Okay.
You know,
We can
she
just say,
she in her email basically
Yeah.
said that we didn't. She
She's
just
gonna
needs to
come
know-
back to us.
Right.
Yeah,
but we should express our gratitude that she's taking it on
Oh,
and
my
done a good
goodness.
job.
Oh, yes.
we appoint you to do that.
Okay.
I'm writing it down here as Jim. Reach out, Margot.
So I wrote that down.
I'm very pleased that that we've been supported by the city.
What do you want with
That's
that?
great
Well,
too.
Yeah, that is a huge deal.
With the Peter Miller stuff.
Oh,
You said you
one thing I did forget, you guys,
What?
there was another application previously
Sure.
at the CPC from the
Sure.
fairgrounds.
Yeah.
And I forgot to bring that up.
What's that?
There was another pre-application that I didn't mention because it was from an earlier round,
What's that?
from the fairgrounds. The,
Oh, right,
Yeah, and you can come here.
we talked about that.
right, so, I will just read the blurb. Agriculture is the backbone of Franklin County, and Greenfield took a leading role in supporting the farmers of the region when the town hosted the first ever Franklin County Fair to the town common in 1850. Following a successful first year, the fair grew dramatically in size and led to the founding of the Franklin County Fairgrounds in 1865. For the 173 years since that initial incorporation, the primary mission of the FCAS has been to promote agriculture in our region. During this extensive time period, many structures have been built, but unfortunately many have been demolished in disrepair. This application seeks to prevent further demolition of our historic agricultural buildings by making roof repairs to 3 cattle barns and the sheep barn at the fairgrounds. The 4 subject roofs are metal in nature and are rusting out with numerous leaks, expediting the end of their useful life. This project would apply a rubber membrane coating to the roofs, which will eliminate the leaks and end the rusting, and prolong the roof for another 20 years, while making the buildings much more attractive and welcoming to the guests of the fair. For the project's reviewer background, the Franklin County Fairgrounds is the largest event venue in Greenfield and is listed on both the state and national registries of historic places. Wow.
Okay.
So,
I mean, those cattle barns probably aren't that old, right? But
no, and I think like the fair is like a working, like kind of like a farm.
yeah,
A lot of that stuff it's all volunteer.
Yeah.
It's been constantly rehabbed and repaired.
I don't see any reason why you shouldn't back it.
Okay. I'm on the fair board, so I'm going to recuse myself from any
Yeah, you
voting.
should, yeah.
I'm just going to say that for
Okay.
full clarity.
Okay.
Right out the gate. So if you guys want to vote on that, or whatever.
Yeah, I move we approve it, or we
I second.
support it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, I abstain.
I abstain.
Okay. All right, good. So that's good. Sorry,
It's well written though.
it's well written, and I will, Mike Nelson, who does the Pumpkin Fest and does a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
The guy is a dynamo,
Yeah.
an absolute dynamo.
Okay, so the first fairgrounds was just down below where the arch is underneath and you go down off of below the common,
Yeah,
go about under the railroad,
yeah,
just to your right in that area. That's
Yeah.
where the first fairgrounds was.
yeah.
Where the auto place was.
Yeah, where the
Napa.
Napa
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah,
store
there's that
there.
power store there.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah, super cool, and I think it's really, obviously the fair is a real resource.
I was there when he presented to CPC.
Yeah.
I didn't know something.
Oh, right, yes. So I
And
knew
he
you
really
had.
was a dynamo.
He is a dynamo. I mean, and he's, if you don't go to the fairgrounds often or much at all, all new paving, all new telephone poles, all new wiring, all new lights, all new sound, and it's all grants.
That's great.
Tremendous amount.
Good.
It's a real exemplar I think
It's
to our
awesome.
community, which is why I'm involved with them.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, it's such a great.
And over to Shaker.
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good to be part of a group like that, and that everybody in Greenfield can kind of get behind it. You know, whereas a lot of other things become politically charged, or whatever.
Right.
Everybody likes the fair. All walks of life can go there and enjoy it.
Yeah.
All over the county.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my something that I enjoy. What's the one you talked about? We had something else. Oh, I don't know. This is kind of a side. This might be the sidebar, but Montague Historic Commission. You guys, I'm sure you've been following that with the Farron, the demolition of the Farron.
Oh, on again, off again.
On again, off again.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, this is just, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But if they're going to give the land to Montague, which they said they would,
Yeah.
why not just give them the whole thing?
Yeah.
Because it's going to cost them. What does it cost to demolish that, Margaret?
Oh.
$100,000
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
If nothing goes wrong. If
And
there's
now
not,
it's
I mean, I don't know. I'm just a
yeah.
dude.
A lot more than
But-
that.
And there's a
Could
lot
you
More
just-
than that.
there's a lack of places for people to
Could
see.
you just give the town of Montague
Yeah.
the keys
Give them the key.
and the deed
Yeah.
and say,
Good luck.
"Domo arigato. Have fun with that."
I thought they were keeping it. No?
They're going to demolish it and give them the land.
Weird.
But it's like, you know, here in Greenfield, part of this, you know, it's like we're talking about housing, affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you all remember, you all been around a while. There used to be a regular bus stop there. There's a kiosk or a bus
Yeah.
stop.
Sure, yeah,
And back in the day, the bus was there
On the other
all
side.
day long, all
On
the
the other
time.
side, yeah.
Correct.
And before that, the trolley.
Yeah.
Trolley used to
Exactly.
stop there. Yeah.
You know, it's right there.
Yeah.
And I know it's not in Greenfield, but it's right over the line. And someday, when they rebuild that bridge, it will be literally right over the line.
Yeah.
And so for folks that need affordable housing in Greenfield,
Right.
you know, work in Greenfield, and just
Yeah.
right down Mountain Road.
Sure.
What the heck?
Mm.
So anyway, I'm kind of curious. I'm always thinking about just kind of attending the meeting just to kind of see.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting because, you know, they just put in the demo delay. They just are kind of wrangling with this for the first time.
Yeah.
And, you know, here's a solid, viable building
Yeah.
that's, I think, they were using it a few years ago, so it's
Yeah.
not like
Mm.
condemned or anything.
It costs a fortune to run.
I bet
Yeah.
it does, yeah.
Probably.
Well, if you get it for free,
Probably.
Still costs a
probably,
fortune to
yeah,
run.
old boilers and stuff.
Old boiler.
Yeah. Wiring and whatnot, but anyway.
But there
All
should
right.
be grants
That's not
for
our problem.
housing.
no, but it's just kind of curious to
Yeah.
to follow
Do
that.
we have any demo applications?
No, I just got an email today. You know, it's like I got an email today that somebody had already demolished something, and I think they wanted me to go like look at it. I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Like the wells in there?
See that pile over there?
Yeah.
Sort through
Um,
it.
Hi, John.
Pick up
This owner has demolished a 16 by 20 addition and a chimney without a permit. So this is just to advise you and follow our normal procedure of sign-offs. Please confirm receipt of this email. So I'm
CYA.
That's more.
Alright.
Vicky Baker. So
Oh.
yeah.
All right.
Huh.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys.
One more thing.
Okay.
One more thing. You guys asked me to look into tennis courts.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So what I did is I got a hold of the people that are the tennis association.
Yeah.
And he
Sounds
said
cool.
that he had done he did some research on the Greenfield annual reports. And I went back and looked at all the histories of Greenfield, and looked at all the references to tennis courts and Highland Park and stuff like that I could find. And here's what I've got so far. 1926, the Greenfield annual report refers to 3 courts at Shattuck Park, high school,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
and 2 courts at Highland.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Of course.
more references to Shattuck, and then 2 at Green River Park, 2 at Highland, 2 new courts at Highland Park in 1941.
Oh,
And then 58 refers to 3 tennis courts on Davis Street.
yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
ones by the
Right,
house.
by the high school.
And also, when I was doing that, I ran across the references to the golf course that was down in that part of town. And that golf course was originally, that was the site of the first Greenfield Country Club.
Yeah.
Was down past the carriage road there back in Highland Park, when you go back around the corner. Down in that area towards the power lines was where the first golf course was.
Yeah.
It was in 1894.
Wow.
And then in 1928, they got some money and they redid the golf course and made it the Greenfield City Golf Course, municipal golf course.
This is the one that's no longer.
The one down there where it's full of trees now
Yeah.
in the woods,
Huh.
and it was there until the 50s, and then the lack of interest, people were going out to the new country club out in the meadows, and they weren't getting enough people doing it, so they discontinued it
Oh.
and let it grow up into the forest that it is now. But that was all a golf course.
I wonder how far it went.
9.
Do you know?
Well,
Well,
it
you know who would know? Hey,
Oh.
Ed Gregory, because Ed Gregory is a golf historian.
Well, it ran. I can tell you.
He actually, yes.
I can tell you where it ran to. It ran to the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
So the railroad tracks run along there.
Uh-huh.
They're the boundary between the
Hope
railroad
Street.
tracks are between that and the river, the Deerfield River.
Uh-huh.
And so it went out to the railroad tracks and it came up to the carriage road.
Oh.
So if you go
So
down,
that
if you
area-
go down,
There's
like
some
Hope
old
Street,
oaks in there.
if you go down to the end of
Oh,
Hope Street where the
Big
power
trees, but
lines
they grew
are,
up since the 50s.
all up in there.
So that's.
But anyway, it's funny because
70 years.
it doesn't mention, you didn't mention the tennis courts at Beacon, did you?
No.
Because I'm thinking clay courts.
I found
Clay
these,
courts.
and these were all clay. These ones that I mentioned,
Those are all clay?
they're all
No,
clay.
They're all clay.
Because they specifically talked about rolling and getting
Yeah.
tapes for the
Sure.
boundaries and stuff, so they were all clay. All those courts I mentioned were clay.
Where'd you find this stuff?
This is the Greenfield annual reports,
Hmm.
and then this other stuff that I found in the Greenfield histories.
Sorry.
But there's very, very little mention of them
And then
in general.
in the tennis association,
Yeah.
they don't have.
This is what they've got.
That's it.
Is it?
Thank you.
So
Thank you, Margo.
Bye.
He said, the guy that I talked to said that's it, that's what he had. And he sent it to me, but he didn't have anything else. There might have been maybe one newspaper article or something.
Hmm.
But everything else, Greenfield annual reports.
Can I get a motion to adjourn, you guys?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, that is cool. And it's like, I feel like every time I follow the rabbit hole for that kind of stuff, and it always sort of turns and I'm like, yeah, but what about, there's always like more questions than answers.
Yeah.